Good morning, everyone. Let's continue our chapter. We are doing judiciary, lesson number 5 of civics book. Our next topic is what are the different branches of the legal system. So, the above case of the dowry death falls within what is considered a crime against society and is a violation of criminal law. Yes, you know that there are two types of law, that the criminal law and civil law. So this dowry death was the crime against society, because it was not the crime only against the Sudha. It can be it was for the society, it was against the society, like anybody can provoke this type of things. So in addition to criminal law, the legal system also deal with the civil law cases. You read in chapter 4 of how a new civil law was passed in 2006 to protect women against domestic violence. This you have read previously. So look at the following table to understand some of the significant differences between the criminal law and the civil law. That what are the difference between these? So just read it. So criminal law. What is criminal law? Let's see. Deals with conduct or acts that the law defines as offense. For example, theft, harassing a woman to bring more dowry, and murder. This is the criminal law. And what is the civil law? Deals with any harm or injury to rights of individual, means any single person. If someone in the rights, fundamental rights are violated, that is the civil law. If we insult someone, if we misbehave with that, if we do the differences on the basis of caste and religion on with a single person, that would called civil law. For example, disputes of relating to the sale of land, purchase of goods, rent matters, divorce cases. So these are the civil law. So now the criminal law, it usually begins with the lodging of an FIR with the police, who investigates the crime, after which a case is filed in court. So next, a civilized a petition has to be filed before the relevant court by the affected party only. In a rent matter, either the landlord or the tenant can file a case. So if found guilty, the accused can be sent to the jail and also fined. And in the civil law, the court gives the specific relief asked for. For instance, in a case between a landlord and a tenant, the court can order the flat to be vacated and the pending rent to be paid. So I hope this is clear to you, but what is the difference between the criminal and the civil law. So next is the description of violation is given, and you have to find out that which type of law it is and what procedure to be followed. I hope you will do this, you can do this by yourself, try to do it. Now just come on the next topic. Does everyone have access to the courts? Yes, like a simple person or an ordinary person, you can say, can they go to the courts for their troubles, for their difficulties? Let's read it. In principle, all citizens of India can access the courts in this country. Yes, means all have the equal rights. They can ask for the justice, they can go to the court if they have any problem. So this implies that every citizen has a right to justice through the courts. As you read earlier, the court play a very significant role in protecting our fundamental rights. If any citizen believes that their rights are being violated, then they can approach the court for justice to be done. While the courts are available for all, in reality, access to court has always been difficult for a vast majority of the poor in India. Yes, because it takes much money. Like if you hire a lawyer, if you go to the court, then it take some money, and for the poor it is difficult to manage all that, to afford all that. So we can say that sometimes it is difficult for poor people. So legal procedure involve a lot of money and paperwork, as well as take up a lot of time. So for a poor person who cannot read and whose family depends on a daily wage, the idea of going to court to get justice often seems remote. So sometimes people avoid to go to the court just because it takes lots of time, it takes lots of money. So that's why they don't think that they should go to the court. So sometimes they avoid this, but they have the right and they can go, but they don't think that it is important, or they they think that it is the waste of time, it will take lot of time, so sometimes they avoid. So in response to this, the Supreme Court in the early 1918s devised a mechanism of public interest litigation, or PIL, you can say it is the short form, to increase access to justice. So what it is, it allowed any individual or organization to file a PIL, in the High Court or in the Supreme Court on the behalf of those whose rights were being violated. The legal process was greatly simplified, and even a letter or telegram addressed to the Supreme Court or the High Court could be treated as a PIL. So, in the early years, PIL was used to secure justice on a large number of issues, such as rescuing bonded laborers from inhuman work conditions and securing the release of prisoners in the Bihar who had been kept in jail even after their punishment term was complete. So this is the procedure, or the PIL. By this, everyone can have the justice, or it means that it is the type of the access to justice. Like the some people who cannot approach to the court by a letter or by a telegram, they can do it very easily. So did you know that midday meal that children now receive in government and government aided school is because of a PIL? So see the photos on the right side and read the text below to understand how this came about. Now you can read this as this is the given here, like the photo 1, photo 3. This you can read by yourself, and the picture is given here. So this is done for today. Tomorrow we will start the next chapter. Till then you cover this pages and the previous pages also. Just read the lesson from the starting, so it would be more clear to you. So thank you, have a nice day, keep learning.